Sitting here talking to myself. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening, all those things. Yeah, maybe a different format, but I'm still me. Yeah. Did everyone get a ping that this was starting? Because it was supposed to, but I also know this is a new feature. Nope, 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 nope. Okay. All right, cool. Then let's just do this and then we'll get started, shall we? One moment. Email. Okay. Always a good time. Okay, we have added everyone. We will give people about, say, 30 more seconds to join in, and then we will get started. Just for anyone who does have to not can't be here the whole time, we will have text answers to all the questions that we answered today available sometime after this. So if you do have to leave for any reason and you can't hear all of them, we will have that to reference. I'm also gonna turn on a slight slow mode in the Q&A text chat just for ease of reading, but I just a little bit. Everyone just take a breath. Um, but yeah, so yeah, Jonas, so let's go ahead and get started. For those of you who don't know me, if you're new to the Discord or just new to the community in general, my name is Sarah Holmes. You'll best know me as Elegant Saria. I am the community manager for A Hat in Time and also our studio's brand manager. And I'm joined today by Jonas. Would you like to introduce yourself, Jonas?
Yeah. Hello, I'm Jonas, founder at Gears for Breakfast, here to talk to you all about Creator DLC.
Ooh, I'm excited. I've been waiting for this talk. Slowly increasing the slow mode. Um, yeah, I'm excited to talk today. I just want to take a moment before we get started to thank all of you for submitting questions. We closed submissions yesterday, but we had close to 400 questions asked. Now, mind you, were a lot of repeats and a lot of things like that, but it is it is great to know that so many people have interest in this project and have so many questions surrounding it. We're going to dive into as many as possible today. Cool. This will be a weekly podcast. No, not quite. It's a chat in time, not in times. But yeah. So you ready to get started, Jonas? Anything you want to say
Hell
before we
yeah,
get
let's do
going?
it.
Yeah. Okay. So the first questions we're going to kind of approach here today are kind of the questions surrounding Vanessa's curse directly. There were a couple that were just really important for us to address. So the first one, Jonas, that I think people had a lot of questions on that we did answer in Twitter was, did we change the Snatcher's voice? And where is Youngtown?
Yeah, so the voiceover work was done by the Creator DLC team. I believe the Snatcher voiceover was done by Bibi. So that was done entirely independent from us. So yeah, all community made voiceover effectively.
Yeah, it was really exciting for us to kind of be able to look at this as a fully community made um DLC. We did of course talk to our existing voiceover artists and kind of let them know what was going on, and they completely understood, which was great to hear. But yeah, it was really cool. They did an amazing job, and I think they fooled many people with how good that work was. Um The other question that we got asked a lot, because this is an online game mode, which is new for us, which is exciting, to have just a fully dedicated online mode for online party, was, will there be any other playable characters available in the um, in Vanessa's Curse? right? Like, is that something that we're going to have available?
Yeah. So you can play as both HatKit and BoKit, obviously, depending on whether your file is a HatKit file or BoKit file. Vanessa Curse does not support local co-op, sadly, but nonetheless, you can still play as the two playable characters. In
Yeah.
addition to that, playable mods should also still work. So one of the mods, like the playable Mustache Girl mod, that should still work. It's not really something we've tested, but I think it should work just fine.
Yeah, we're hopeful. There's some things we're not going to know in regards to mods until it's actually out.
Yeah.
You all know, if not better than we are, that there can sometimes be some odd things, but we don't know that yet. But we suspect it'll be fine. Um, the other question that we got surrounding Vanessa's Curse is if any of it is, um, if any of it's single player, if there's any chapter involved in it, and I can kind of take this one because it's just a simple no. It's a complete online mode. There's not an actual, um, there's not an actual chapter like that you're used to seeing in a Hat in Time in it. But yeah, and then we did talk about okay. Oh, here's one. Will there be microtransactions in Hat in Time or in Vanessa's Curse? Because we did see, obviously, there's a lot of hats and things like that that are coming along with it.
I like the guy in chat who also asked, "Will there be a battle pass?" That's very funny.
Yeah,
But no, Vanessa's Curse is just a one-time purchase. So you buy the DLC, you have all the content within the DLC, effectively.
yeah. We have no plans of implementing microtransactions at this time. It's just not something that we're looking at doing. At least for the time being. Scary for the time being is always a fear. Um, um,
I
will
want to say though, there is kind of a battle pass in the game though.
there
Like,
is
Woody added that like unlockable thing you trade crowns for, so that's kind of looks like the battle pass, but we'll see.
battle pass, real wordy battle pass. Um, is it available on all platforms? This is in our FAQ, but Vanessa's Curse specifically, as we know, is not because of the way Online Party was created. Uh, it is limited to the Steam release, which we know, and Vanessa's Curse is built on Online Party, so we couldn't really bring that to consoles or outside of Steam in general. Um, but will Jonas, is there any what are our thoughts on if there were ever a single player DLC? Is that something that we'd ever consider outside of Steam, or are
Yeah,
we
we
just
would handle it on a case by case basis. But for Vanessa's Curse DLC specifically, because it relies on Online Party, like that's the whole core of it. There was no way to have it to other platforms. So yeah, Vanessa's Curse is just Steam only.
yeah? And then of course, how much does DLC cost? We have talked about this, but it isn't listed on the Steam page, so I'll just say it is $2.99. We really wanted to make sure that this was super accessible for people. And that people can really just have a good time with it. There's a ton of content, so we're really pleased that the price point is it's $2.99 USD, by the way.
Yeah.
That
And
does obviously vary.
if you purchase Vanessa's Curse, you also get access, obviously, to Online Party. So if you either own Yakuza Metro or Vanessa's Curse, both of those give you access to Online Party.
Yeah, which we're really happy about because there was conversation in the beginning. The obviously the immediate concern was, oh no, do we make this dependent on also owning Yakuza? And we decided that it would make much more sense to just make it available for both. So that's an added benefit too. If you don't own Yakuza, but you still want to access Online Party to play this.
Yep.
See here. So many questions. As someone had a question about achievements, will there be any new achievements added with Vanessa Curse or future DLC?
New achievements planned. Again, it's a case by case basis. For this one, we didn't really feel it was necessary, so no new achievements this time around.
Cool. And then here's a big one that I think a lot of people are curious about with it being an online party mode is there anti-cheat for Vanessa's Curse?
Okay. So there is mild anti-cheat in it, in that we've disabled specific hats and specific badges that you cannot use. There's also some other checks we do behind the scenes just to make sure, nothing wacky is going on. But we do absolutely recommend that you play with people that you trust. Worst case scenario, if someone is being a little mean, ruining the experience for everyone else, we may apply a temporary or a permanent ban to those specific players.
Yeah, and I can speak. So I'll give you guys a little heads up of what's coming in the Discord server. So there's not a matchmaking system for Vanessa's Curse. It is something that you join the same way you would join an online party, right? You get into a party and then you all play Vanessa's Curse. But we wanted to make sure that there was a way within the community for people to party with each other. So we've made the decision after a lot of deliberation, and I'll be explaining this more in time to come, but there will be voice chat in the official A Hat in Time Discord where you can um play. I'm glad you all are excited, where you can play Vanessa's Curse with each other. Now, there will be a couple things. We of course will encourage polite play with each other, so we will have a strike system involved with, like, if there's reported cheating and things like that. And we will also have other rules surrounding that. So stay tuned in the actual Discord for how those rules will apply. But we want to make sure that people can play and make groups within the Discord. So we're super excited to bring that. Yeah. So voice chat in the Hat in Time Discord, which is exciting. Um, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then the other question, I think we kind of already touched on, but will workshop items be allowed inside Vanessa's Curse?
Yeah, effectively, we've given modders a few new tools to blacklist and whitelist specific hats and badges. Vanessa's Curse take advantage of this and only allow specific hats and badges to be used when it's inside the manor. So, if you try to use the Sonic hat, you can't. It's blacklisted.
Yeah. So yeah, it is something that we do have the ability to definitely provide to you. There's a couple new tools, right? Modding tool. Oh, thing perfect. Sorry about that alert. There's a couple new modding tools that were added, right, with the release of this DLC.
Yeah, that's correct. I don't remember the full list offhand, but what a new thing you can do is you can specify credits for the mod. So there's a new menu you can create that has credits. There's support for playing intro cinematics. There's support for rental items. So if you want to give someone the hookshot, but they may or may not have unlocked it, you can give them a rental temporarily. You can also blacklist, as I mentioned before, whitelist items. You can specify whether the map is allowed to slow down time, which is especially useful for online party. There's also some some new online party properties, but I don't remember this offhand. But basically, a bunch of new tools.
The whole new list, which is exciting. And then I think even some of the assets, right, from Vanessa's Curse, modders will be able to access. Is that something that we also have available for them after release?
Post launch after Vanessa's Curse, the modding tools will be updated with some of the cooked assets from Vanessa's Curse.
Yeah. So yeah, that's very cool. We're excited to be able to give those back. And then, like, the final question that we kind of have just around Vanessa's Curse itself, and just, I'm sure, future DLCs, is if there's going to be any references to outside properties like Tunchi, or Here Comes Nico, or things like that. And I can kind of take this one, just kind of in general. Hat Kid obviously did have a guest appearance in Tunchi. She obviously has a cameo in some other games like Here Comes Nico. And the truth of those is that while she does appear in those, they're not canon to the, like, Hat in Time lore. So you won't hear any references to those outside property. In our creator DLCs or in our DLCs. But yeah. So those are our questions on Vanessa's Curse, which is super exciting. I think we're very excited for this release next week. I will be announcing this. You all get a special preview of this, but we will be announcing next week that we do have plans for kind of a pre-launch stream next Saturday, where we'll be showcasing some games. I'll be talking hopefully to some of the creators, and we'll be going through that. Um, but we do want to answer some questions while we're here. Kind of like the main chunk of this is going to be surrounding just the creator DLC program overall, because there's a lot of questions we know with that. And so, just to kind of get us started, I want to take a moment and kind of explain what the creator DLC program is and what the program actually means. So the creator DLC program is really what's mentioned in our FAQ, and that's really for us a way for us to partner directly with creators to bring new adventures to A Hat in Time. What that means is the way that works kind of in summary is that a creator is going to be able to pitch us an idea for a DLC that they have, um, and we'll evaluate whether or not it seems like a good fit. And then from there, after we partner with them, we'll work with them directly to bring the whole DLC to fruition and release. Um, but there are a lot of questions surrounding, how much support and things exist. And so, Jonas, how much support can a creator expect from GFB, like with assets, sound, or voice work, or things like that?
There's still one guy talking about the battle pass. That's very funny. Anyway, so so the concept should ideally be complete on its own, right? So you want to make sure you scope your project in a way that you can actually achieve what you want to do without relying on help that may or may not be available, right? So try to scope it as clean and as simple as possible, so that you're actually able to deliver on the concept. So yeah, aim to have a complete concept effectively.
Yeah. And that's something that we really it kind of speaks to like the status of what it needs to be when it gets submitted to us, right? And that is that we kind of our set expectation is that when it is pitched to us, which for those of you who are curious how just that pitching process will work, we'll actually have a form submission that will go live sometime after Vanessa's Curse release. I of
Yep.
course will announce it in the Discord. Um, where that can be submitted, and that form will include everything that's required for submission. Um, but there'll be a form, and we do kind of expect it to have at least a playable demo. It being further along is totally fine, but we at least need it at that stage. Um, that before we can really truly evaluate whether or not we can bring it in. Um, so another huge question was what what's the scope of projects allowed for this? Right? Like, will it only be levels? Can it be utility based things? What's the idea surrounding that?
Yeah. So obviously, we encourage a lot of variety in submissions, but ideally, we aim for concepts that are sort of similar to what we've delivered in terms of downloadable content, right? So if you look at Seal the Deal and Yakuza Metro, obviously we don't expect necessarily content on that scale, but in the spirit of what that content delivers, right? So ideally new areas or new adventures to explore are preferred. Vanessa's Manor is actually a good example of something that's in the spirit of what we do for DLCs, but also kind of different. It's not a single player experience, but it's a multiplayer experience. But it is this new area to explore, this new area to have fun. So that kind of content is ideal for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we did touch on this, but obviously, when it comes to in-game credit, each at least how it stands, the way Vanessa Curse will work is that on the menu screen for Vanessa's Curse, there's a button you can select that is the credits for that specific DLC,
Yes.
which is super great. So you'll be able to see who works on what specific project. But they're not added to the actual in-game like end sequence that you currently see. Yeah, and then quality, right? So we kind of talked about scope. but quality is another thing that I think I've seen a lot in like just our modding chats and things like that of concerns about like is something I create a high enough quality for creator DLC, and like are there any like do you need to be a professional in this space? Do you need to have graduated, with a computer sci degree or something like that to actually be considered? And the truth is that no. We don't have any like requirements. You're not you're not working for us. We do we do want to be transparent, obviously, that for creator DLC it is a higher level of quality that we expect. But it's we don't have a hard and set requirement that it has to be like of a specific quality unless you have something that you think is a good example, Jonas, of what we kind of expect.
I don't really have a good example, but yeah, there's no real qualification other than we expect the work to be of decent quality, right?
Yeah.
We want it to feel that players get to experience something that's a bit higher quality than sort of the regular content we see on, for instance, the workshop. The expectation's a bit higher, but there's no qualifications in terms of actual background. Just the work needs to be refined. That's it.
Yeah. And we do recognize that there's varying levels of experience within, the modding community, any community really, but within the modding community as far as in terms of this project. And I think what's important to us to really reference there is that we still intend on supporting the modding community as it is now, right? Like much in no different way. Like there's still going to be mod spotlights. We still intend to do modding jams. This is no substitute for that. This is just uh, kind of the thing that falls into the next step, like that next higher level. So if you don't feel comfortable or that you want to create things because it does add a little bit of stress to make something that could potentially be sold as a DLC, then don't feel stressed to. Would be my suggestion, right? Absolutely make what you want to make. And if you want us to consider it, we'll absolutely look into that with this program. But I mean, that kind of feeds into like what inspired us to create this program in the first place, right? Like it's no mystery. Hat's 4 years old. We we love our game. Um, what kind of led us here, and I think it really does have to do with that. We just wanted the option to really provide creators a way to make bigger content and expose that content to larger audiences.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. We wanted a way to expand the support we provide and to really give kind of that next step.
Yeah, I mean, we when we released Nakasametsu, we also had a call for submissions, and what we saw there was that the work that the community is able to do can actually be very high quality. And so we really want to take that a step further and give the community the opportunity to make content that goes beyond that is bigger in scope, and is more kind of downloadable content size, more so than like an isolated experience.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I noticed most is that there was a healthy amount of skepticism when we first started talking about this program earlier this week. About, what it would do for the modding scene and things like that. And my hope would be that you see through us talking about this more that we're by no means trying to create like a program where people can just charge for their mods. It really is going to be more select than that, and really
Yeah.
is going to be something that we strive to uh, we strive to make a great experience for anything that we accept as part of the program. Um all right, let's answer the big question that everyone's been asking.
They've been spamming us in chat for the last 10 minutes about this
Yeah,
question.
they've been begging for it. So I'll let you take it, Jonas, since being the boss and all. Are the DLCs and creator DLC going to be canon to A Hat in Time lore?
Yeah, so effectively, we review all concepts for creator DLC to make sure they fit within the Hat in Time's universe. Sometimes this means changed requests, sometimes this means everything's just A-okay. But effectively, we want everything we add to A Hat in Time to be within the spirit of what we would like to see in A Hat in Time. And so we expect creator DLCs to follow sort of the example we've set for the Hat in Time universe, to sort of extend that and build on top of it. Yeah, that's basically the goal.
Yeah. I mean, I think Vanessa's Curse is a really good example of this in that, the canon that surrounds Vanessa's Curse of this, relationship between Snatcher and Vanessa is something that is actually hinted at in base game, right? Um, and they
Hinted is a very subtle way, but yes.
I mean, it's laid out in pictures. Can I open that? Is
Yeah,
that
okay.
better?
All right. Fair enough.
It's a relationship that's laid out in the storybook. And they took that and they really skillfully, in my opinion, created this beautiful thematic multiplayer experience based around it. Which is cool. But yeah, I hope that helps. I'm glad we could answer that question for you, because I know that was the big one. And then yeah, are this obviously leads to the next natural question: is there more? Uh, how many more DLCs are planned? And do we have any in the pipeline right now currently?
The
Uh,
answer is the answer is really no. We have no idea how long. We have no idea how big this is going to go, right? But we really enjoyed Vanessa's Curse. We're so happy to be sharing it with everyone. We're always looking forward to more. Let's see how far we can take this.
Yeah, and that's it. We have no plans on a quota or something along this program. We are just, we want to take it as it goes and really deliver on it as long as we have the ability to, right? As long as there's still submissions that fit, and that we have time to really make special the same way we did Vanessa's Curse. Um, but yeah. Oh, is there a maximum team size for for creator DLC?
No.
No
You
maximum
can be a
team size.
one-man band if you want to.
That's right. One man, you could be. I mean, maybe not
Be
900.
1,000 men.
Well, that sounds like a lot of paperwork, but yeah, okay. Sure. Great. Can't wait for that one. Yeah. And then, are there any expenses to submit, kind of like similar to Steam Direct or things like that? Is there any cost to submit your project to the Creator DLC program?
Nope.
Nope.
It's free.
It's free. And along with that, when we partner with whoever we partner with, we will obviously evaluate what resources we have available and have that conversation with those creators. And along with that, by partnering with us, we will handle like the marketing, and that whole side of things. We don't expect our creators to uh to market their own to market their own material by themselves. That would not be any kind of fair when they're partnering with us. Um, oh yeah, and that kind of brings us to the point of there was a question regarding who sets the prices for the DLC, and truthfully, it's us. We at Gears for Breakfast obviously will have a conversation and we'll make that final call. When we have those discussions around setting the price. So someone asked specifically, would anyone be able to sell their DLC for free? And obviously we wouldn't do that, right? So we'll be setting that pricing so it makes sense and falls in line with kind of the other offerings that we've presented for A Hat in Time and what that looks like. But Jonas, do you want to touch on what the revenue share looks like for
Yes.
creator DLC? Because that's the other big question.
Yeah. So the revenue share is 50% to the creator DLC team of the Steam's cut. And that's straight up just 50% of revenue from the DLC.
Yep.
We've never done rev share before like this. This is entirely new to us, but we're excited that we can actually give creators a piece of DLC revenue. That's completely new, so exciting stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Um, and so that's what we're looking at as far as like sales side of things go. Um, the other question that we really got asked a lot as far as like um the whole process goes is what timeline looks like, and how those will be overseen by us at Gears for Breakfast. Jonas, you kind of head up production. Do you really want to touch on that and like how we intend to run those timelines when we do partner with someone?
Yeah, this is usually just again, a lot of this is a case by case basis, but we usually have conversations with the creators, see where they're at, see what needs to be done, um, make sure that we fit enough time to actually get those achieved, and then we take it from there.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just going to be case by case. We this is really a partnership, so we really want to make sure, while we do want to make sure things move along, we are also always open to actually having conversations and making sure that it works for everybody involved in the project. Um, yeah, and then yeah, the other big question that I know there's some waiting ears on is would this program potentially have the ability to revive beta characters or scrapped characters or perhaps introduce new characters?
Yeah,
Uh,
so like we mentioned before, we prefer that we build on top of sort of the expectations we've set for ahead in time downloadable content. So ideally build on top or new adventures more so than looking back at old content.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's definitely something fair and something that we want to make sure that these are always new adventure that um we're looking towards. Um
I want to correct Simon here. Timmy was not electrocuted. It was an electrical fire. There's a difference.
but I have a question then. Does one
Yeah.
not get electrocuted within an electrical fire?
No, you die from the fire.
What? All right, fair enough. No spicy fire, just fire.
Yep.
um cool. Well, so kind of like the last part of things we're going to go over today are some of the more technical questions. So, modders, ears up if this is really what you're interested in as far as like content goes. But when it comes to creator DLC projects, one of the biggest questions that we got asked over and over again was if modders would have more capacity to have more freedom in coding, such as like modifying on a native level, or if they'd be restricted to the same systems as normal modding when they make a creator DLC.
Yeah. Here we prefer that the concept works out of the box, right?
Mhm.
Um, we don't want projects to take on a bigger scope than can be achieved with the tools that are here now and rely on a feature that may or may not arrive. Just try to keep your scope reasonable and don't rely too much on these heavy modifications. Also, make sure to utilize the knowledge that you guys have as a community. Talk to each other, see if there's new knowledge that can be obtained about how to do various aspects like coding or Kismet scripting, other stuff like that. We do sometimes apply small changes where appropriate, as we've done a few changes for Vanessa's Curse. But again, these were done after the fact. And there's also a limit to the kind of changes we can make due to we need to make sure that everything's compatible, like backwards compatible with mods of the past, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, don't put your entire concept on stake over expectations that there's going to be some major changes. Aim for something realistic and down to earth.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I'm utterly hopeless on these questions, just by the way. Not that anyone needed that information, just utterly hopeless. Um, yeah, so like Jonas, another question was like what assets or what content can be reused from like already existing files? Like scale or static meshes, maps, music, blah blah blah. How much of that is can be used in creator DLC?
Yeah, you can use all the base game assets plus Seal the Deal plus Yakuza Metro assets. Those are all free to just go nuts with for your Creator DLC. Vanessa's Curse assets will also be available shortly after that launches as well. So that's all just free for use.
Yeah. What about content from things like that beta or things like that that may not be used in actual game? Do we have any guidance surrounding that
Oh,
specifically?
no idea. But just if it looks alright, it's probably fine. And as long as you have the legal rights to use the assets, that's probably fine.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's actually a really important call out you made there is something that because we are selling these are creator DLCs and it will be sold. Um, everything that is created for your DLC proposal needs to be owned by you or something that we've permitted use of.
yeah.
So you will need commercial rights for the things that you use. Um, even if you commissioned it, you need to read up and understand what it means to have the commercial rights and make sure that there's an agreement between you and your uh, who you're commissioned that that's something you've established. It's very important because we just have to make sure that that's all cared for. Just the fun paperwork of it all.
And also to add on to that, no, we cannot get you licenses for other stuff. We cannot get you a McDonald's license. I'm sorry. There's no way.
I'm sorry, my connection at McDonald's doesn't work there anymore. You're gonna have to figure that out. I know everyone's heartbroken. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Someone send Jack my regards. Um. Oh, will there be mod support for creator DLCs in general, such as making custom death wishes, asset replacements, etc.?
Yeah, so I think this should be possible at the box. I haven't tested it honestly. I think you can already do it, but like you can do asset replace for other mods. So same, and then also for DLCs. So all of that should still work as it did before. But again, haven't really tested it. There might be some jank. We'll figure out.
We'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And then can any mod require any creation, can it require a base game update or change for easier development for it to function properly? I think this kind of circles back to that we want to ideally make sure it works out of the box. So kind of like
Yeah.
Jonas said earlier, don't build your project around the hope for an update to base game or anything like that because it's just not something that we can necessarily do or are possibly open to. Um, can Sari make a cameo if she allows us? No, I'm not a video game. I'm not a video game. But yeah, so before we have like one final question to end up on, but I do kind of want to open up to the people in this room, maybe for somebody who didn't get their question answered or who didn't get a chance to submit. Um,
There's a guy who has a question about the battle pass.
Again, there is no there is no battle pass, though I wish you luck finding it. There's a battle pass like system, but it is not a battle pass. Can previous mods become creator DLC? Great question. In short, no. We want to preserve our modding community, and we want our mods to stay mods, if that makes sense, because that's what's really fair. And so anything that is previously a mod that has been released and put out in the workshop, we are not considering for um, for creator DLC. Sorry, Hab. I know you had your heart set on, I don't know, White Tower Hell, making it in. Can't make it happen.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
But it goes in line with the fact that we were looking for new adventures, so.
Yeah, that's ultimately what it is. Um, woo. Can Vanessa's Curse lobbies be customizable? So, Jonas, do you kind of want to touch on how lobbies work for Vanessa's Curse?
Yeah, it just works exactly the same as a regular online party. So you specify the room name that you want, and everyone else is able to join.
Yeah.
Basically it.
Yep. And if you so something that we definitely recognize is that people love to play this game with mods. So something we'll be setting up in the actual Discord itself is when you want to set up a game, definitely, if you want to try it with mods that you have around that do work within the level, feel free to do so. Just make sure that you're on the same page with the people you're playing with, right?
Yeah.
With any online experience, you just want to make sure that everyone's in agreement to what's going on. And modding can definitely add a lot of additional fun to Vanessa's Curse, but you just want to make sure that you're playing fair. Um, I don't know if I can answer this. What color are the prince's eyes? Yellow, brown. It's hard for most of us. I don't know. I feel like this is a Jenna question, and I'm not.
He
Not
doesn't have
qualified.
eyes, right? Isn't that right? I don't think he has eyes.
Just
Wait, no,
doesn't
he
have-
has eyes in Vanessa's curse trailer. That's right.
Yeah.
Eye reveal. Holy shit.
I reveal. Well, we did establish. Yeah, I reveal, but I can't help you. Feels like a a Jenna question, and I just can't answer. It's my favorite pizza topping, meatball. Red meatball pizza is
It's
delicious.
a weird pizza topping.
What? It's incredible.
They're just gonna roll off your pizza, do you?
You cut them before you put them on the
Oh,
pizza.
fair enough. I was just
the
imagining
idea of
like
an
a full
entire-
meatball. Yeah,
Like a giant Italian meatball set atop a slice of pizza.
exactly.
Oh, that's a great question. That I swore was in here, but it's not. Will people that bought the Ultimate Edition get Creator DLC for free, or will there be a bundle to buy all Creator DLC at one time? So go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. The Ultimate Edition, Vanessa's Curse. The Ultimate Edition is all of the Gears for Breakfast released content for a hat in time. And then Creator DLC will be separate from that, and they'll each be individual purchases. Though, I'm Jonas. You can probably clarify this better than I can. I'm sure we're not opposed to possibly considering bundles in the future, on like through Steam.
Yeah, I think for now, the bundles we have are probably just going to remain as is, as Creator Deal or Vanessa's Curse as a separate purchase. If we do have more Creator DLC, we might make a bundle, but I have no idea if there's even going to be more. So we'll find out.
Yeah, and that's really what it could be. Can declined CDLC pitches be released in the workshop? Yeah, absolutely. If you pitch us something for Creator DLC and it doesn't quite fit, or it's just doesn't work with what we're trying to do, Jonas, you can speak to this better than I can, but I don't see any problem at all with
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'd say okay.
Yeah. Give me one quick second. Do do.
There's a guy who asked if the
Mhm.
DLC can be limited to maps or if they can be cosmetic only DLC. So ideally, we want something that adds on top of the experience for a hat in time. Cosmetics are nice, but ideally, we want a new play experience. Maps are really great for providing new play experiences, but we're not opposed to something that could potentially like remix existing experiences, like remixing existing maps. Deathwish is a great example of just a concept that remixes the existing experiences without really providing, new maps of its own. So we're not entirely opposed to that, but we are looking for new experiences, not just cosmetics.
Yeah, and that also means that it might be an opportunity for you to do maybe working with, if somebody's working on a Creator DLC, right? That could be a conversation that you have with that creator, because there might be cases where those can go together. Because as you see, even in Vanessa's Curse, right, there's outfits and things like that, and those can really add to the experience of the larger like levels that exist.
Yeah.
Nova asks, sorry, the answer wasn't clear. You say you prefer new adventures or new content, but does that mean it's completely impossible for beta characters, etc., to be reintegrated? It is not impossible. It would be a lot of internal conversations and would be a lot of conversations before we approached it, but I wouldn't say that it's impossible, right, Jonas? Like, our focus is just really moving forward, not looking backwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't just outright say it's impossible off. Um, I hope that helped. Um, Console question again. Again, Vanessa's Curse is not coming to consoles because it's an online party game mode, which is exclusive to Steam. Additional DLCs will be considered on a case by case basis on where they can go. There's all of those. We did have a question, Jonas. I am blind. Before we saved a question. Nope, I'm losing my mind. Don't mind me.
Okay.
You see anything else?
Wait, one guy asked us if Vanessa's Curse items can be used in base game ahead in time. Yes, they can. There's a caveat. In online party, you can only see the items if you also have the DLC installed. So if someone else is wearing a Vanessa's Curse outfit and you do not have the DLC, you won't be able to see it on your screen. Just as a heads up.
Yep. Are they interested in how localization will work with Creator DLC? We are okay. So, we of course support and really appreciate the workshop localization mods that exist. Obviously, we've been a huge proponent of those in the past. When it comes to Creator DLC, we will not be implementing, at least at this time, any official localization. But I do highly recommend you check out the workshop. I do know that there's a couple teams currently who want to add Vanessa's Curse to their existing localization mod. Sorry, we're just chat's moving fast, just trying to make sure we get to the questions that are asked. We've got a couple more minutes left.
One person just said Jonas and didn't even ask anything.
Jonas. Will there be an exploration mode for Vanessa's Curse? I understand. Whoop, it's gone. It blinked away.
Oh my god. I should not have encouraged it. All right.
Or is there going to be but will there be a mode to just walk around and explore? I don't believe that that's included as something that you can do within Vanessa's Curse. I think you have to have at least 2 people to initiate a game. Is that correct, Jonas? Correct me.
Yeah, that's correct. But I do believe that Woody and Jasmine did add some like crowns you can just find around hidden in the area on your own. So that's fun. But not in the actual mansion. It's just in the campground area.
Yeah, there is. So what's really neat, and you'll see this, and we'll talk. I'll talk about this more with the creators on Saturday. Is that there is a very within the DLC itself, there's a very nice little campground lobby that I'm sure some of you saw in the trailer, and that you can access by yourself without having to enter a match. Oh my gosh, just a lot of Jonas. Thanks, Simon. Thanks for thanks for joining. Will the music be put on a new soundtrack or put on the B-side soundtrack?
No. There's no plans to do that at this time.
Yeah. That's pretty quick answer. There's just like no, not. I mean, obviously.
So I think there's like 2 new tracks, and honestly, it's not really worth making like a whole new
soundtrack
for it. Yeah. Maybe once we have more Creator DLC set, it's something we can look into, but at this time, not really.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think what we really want to make sure we get across to everyone who's listening is that this is a very new program, not just for you guys, but for us. And we've put a lot of thought behind how we want to roll it out, but it is new. So it is still very malleable. So as things change, or as things possibly, you may see, like Jonah said, there might be, right, at some point. That kind of goes along with some of these answers you've heard today, is that things could still possibly change slightly from what you hear today. So just be patient with us. And we'll try and be as transparent as possible on any of those changes. Let's see. Jabrules asks, on the website, it says existing mods are not allowed for the CDLC program, but would a CDLC based on an existing mod but not using it directly? I think that would be a question for the submission form. I think that would have to be case by case basis, right? Because we obviously wouldn't want to take anything away from the workshop. Like we're very insistent on that, so we wouldn't want something that was that would remove access to things that people already have. But if it's just like of a similar style or maybe an expansion upon something, I imagine we'd at least have a conversation surrounding it when you submit it. Just be very all we ask is that you be very transparent when you submit it over to us so we can actually have those conversations. Is that would we say that's fair, Jonas?
Yeah. One person asked if rifts were okay to submit. In general, rifts are fine. If the submission is just a collection of rifts, those rifts would have to be of fairly high quality. Ideally, those rifts would be tied to some other content, because that's how we use the rifts in the base game as well. They're usually tied to some other content as well.
Fair enough. Does CD